Hey folks, welcome on in. What's up? Hope you're all having a good weekend. My name is Pixlriffs. Welcome to your Sunday Minecraft live stream, in which I become increasingly paranoid and just have to check that I'm not streaming D&D today, but I am not, because that was last weekend, so everything is all good. Having a bit of a low-key one today. Going to be doing a little bit more work on the Great Bridge later, but today I think we're going to do a bit of fishing. And that will help because I need some water-breathing potions to work on the Great Bridge pillars, really, but we'll see what we can do. And I should turn my camera on. That's always a good start. There we are. Hey, it's me. Glad you all enjoyed the video. If you haven't seen it yet, then it's probably going to be one of the more popular videos of this series. Square Moon, Sam Garofalo, thank you for the resubs. We had the darkness effect for a while, yes. I just poked the warden. Fishing with lure and luck is kind of OP. Yeah, I'm hoping we'll get a bit more XP from that as well. I don't have an enchanted fishing rod right now, but we might be able to fish one of those up, so our luck is only going to improve. Haven't seen it yet. It's in your watch later, though. All good, all good. Enjoy it when you get to it. Rattlesnake, thank you for the 24 months, the 2-year resub. Appreciate that very much. Hope I'm in a cool place. I've got the fan on in the background. I have some ice water. Not drinking tea today. And tomorrow is going to be the warmest day of the week, it looks like. But we've got a few plans for if it gets too warm in here. We've got lots of fans. We've got some ice in a tray in the freezer that we can put in front of the fan if we need to. We've got lots of like towels that we can drape over our necks and all of the tips I've seen online for staying cool in intense heat. So yeah, hopefully that should all go okay. And I've got to record the podcast tomorrow, so fingers crossed it will be bearable. Well, how hot is it here now? I mean, in the local area, it's currently 25 degrees Celsius, which is not too bad. It's quite a nice day. The humidity is always the thing that's the worst, and the fact that I'm indoors in a house made of brick. You know, pizza ovens are made of brick as well. Ever occurred to you? And yeah, my PC obviously heats up a little bit when I'm streaming and playing Minecraft, but that's all good. Rotation, thanks so much for the 12 months. Everyone spam the word nerd in the chat, please. Thank you for the full year of support here on the channel. Welcome to the Nerd Herd. Appreciate that very much. But yeah, we don't have air conditioning in UK houses. It may end up becoming more of a standard in future years if the heat continues to build to this kind of thing in summer. But we're also going through an energy crisis right now, so it's not ideal to have air conditioning running 24/7 anyway. No? Oh, it may be my door blowing back and forth against the peg. If you want to, you can just shut it. Yeah, because it's being like pulled into the room by the draft. Yeah. I guess, sure. Sorry, we're just trying to keep the airflow to the office whilst also not have it being a pain in the butt. We'll get started with the Minecraft in just a second, folks. Yeah. All right, the door is under control. All right, let's get to it. Let's log in and play some Minecraft. We're going to be on Empire's SMP. We're just going to be fishing and chilling out for the first little while. And the first thing I have to do is sleep because I'm in a village. Our usual village of friendly traders. Preparing to fight the Ender Dragon right now for the first time in hardcore. Very cool. Good luck with that. Hope it goes well. Just going to check we don't have any marauding zombies. Here to eat my Fletchers. Looks like we're in the clear. I've been over here just trading sticks to get my XP levels back up to scratch because I've been combining tools and enchanting stuff, and I needed to get a few more levels. Plus, I get redstone, glass, and light grey terracotta out of this, so it's all working out. We're in survival today? Pretty much always in survival on this stream. I don't tend to build in creative much on this stream. Rattlesnake with the 300 bits. Thank you so much. We also had Jack's Gadget Girl with the 19 months earlier. Thank you very much for that. Light grey terracotta is the one that smelts into something which I think I'm probably going to be building with quite frequently. You mean Survival Guide, not Empires? No, we're in Empires today. We're probably not going to be streaming from Survival Guide for a little bit because Empires is really popular right now, and all of the stuff I want to do in Survival Guide isn't really stuff that I need to do behind the scenes work on. It's all just going to be video content. So Empires is probably going to be it for the next little while. We'll obviously be back to Survival Guide at some stage, but it all depends where my energy needs to go and where I need to do like a lot of grind work, which right now in Survival Guide I don't really need to do. Fletcher's the easiest way to get lots of emeralds from trades. Depends, really. I mean, it's nice and easy to chop wood, but then again, if you have automatic farms, then you can trade melons and pumpkins to farmers, and that's something that just, like, harvests itself in the background. Plus, people don't tend to use melons and pumpkins all that much, whereas if you're chopping wood, chances are you probably want to build with wood as well. I'm not building all that much with wood in this series, though, so I feel like I can use it as a utility thing every so often. Been using pumpkins and a roof gradient. Yeah, that's always a fun use for them. I know Gem does a lot of building with stuff like that. It's like honeycomb and pumpkins and stuff. Melons also make really good wallpaper if you're into green wallpaper. Look at this guy stood in his own composter. What a legend.
Well, that's just prime.
Son of Thrain, thank you so much for the 4 months. And Revolutionary Pirate with the 6. Thank you very, very much. Always funny seeing somebody with a Lord of the Rings username subscribing with Prime, because obviously the Amazon Prime show is starting to ramp up all of its advertising for their new Lord of the Rings series, which I've seen a few people kind of pushing back on the, you know, production decisions and casting decisions. I think it looks like a cool-looking show. I'm not expecting the world of it, but I'm not the most die-hard, like, everything must be respectful to the source material kind of Tolkien fan. Besides which, the source material is actually pretty vague about what all the characters look like and stuff, so I feel like a lot of people's concerns there are rooted in other problems those people have. But I do think that series is going to be such a cool source of Minecraft build inspiration just based on the production design alone. Anything fantasy is good for you? Yeah, the funniest thing I found, I talked about this on the previous stream where we were building the Great Bridge, but people were talking about that series and being like, it looks like generic fantasy, and I'm like, yeah, because a lot of generic fantasy stuff is based on people who really like Tolkien trying to write a fantasy story of their own. Like, that's what it is. Like, they get all of the elves, dwarves, orcs, and humans stuff from Tolkien. As long as it's better than Wheel of Time. I mean, it's being made by a completely different set of people, so and I feel like it has, I don't know, maybe a stronger foundation, if that makes sense, because I feel like more people understand and know the world of Lord of the Rings, like the world of Middle-earth and Tolkien's whole thing. And so some of those concepts are going to make sense without you having to over-explain them, whereas Wheel of Time is a lot more niche in terms of fantasy books. I know it's like one of the biggest series ever, but I feel like even people who don't read fantasy have read Lord of the Rings, you know? Almost all space sci-fi is the same, just everyone copied Dune. Yeah, exactly, right? Dark Queen, thank you for the tier 1 sub. And Veminator, thank you so much for the 5 months. Was that bridge inspired by Lord of the Rings? No, Elden Ring mostly. Dark Queen subscribing for 6 months in advance as well. Oh my goodness. What a commitment. Thank you very, very much for that. Read The Hobbit, but got stuck in the first Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I remember having The Hobbit on audiobook. I think we got it from the library or something, like ages and ages ago. Back when it was like cassettes, and it was like an abridged version of The Hobbit that was still 8 tapes that you had to play. And it was all like, now switch to side B. Did Tolkien provide an IPA guide to pronunciation of elven words and names? Yes. I mean, in the appendices is like all about how to pronounce stuff. Or at least one of them is. Like Appendix F of Lord of the Rings is basically him saying, like, this should be pronounced like this, and you should roll R's where possible. I've been following a guy who does Tolkien podcasts, like under the name The Tolkien Professor, for a little while. And he joked about having a colleague who was such a stickler for the rules of Tolkien's kind of pronunciation that he insisted in pronouncing Aragorn's name Aragorn. And it was like, I can't do that every time. But you listen in the trailer for Rings of Power, you listen to the way the guy playing Elrond says the name Galadriel, and you're like, yeah, no, they've got it. They've at least paid some attention to detail. Apparently that dude is like the massive Tolkien nerd of the cast. So that's kind of a fun thing. I have a few other resource gathering missions that we might get onto in today's stream as well. I need to get some calcite, but ideally not from this mountain range over here that's like really close to my place. There's like a calcite vein over there that, I don't know. I don't know if I want to quarry that right away. But I have a couple of other places I can go and get calcite from that aren't going to bother anybody, you know? Cast used to get lectured at the stage door for pronouncing things wrong in a stage production of Lord of the Rings. I bet. It's like, there's some people who, like, just refuse to let stuff like that go, and it's kind of like, you know, a lot of these things are not necessarily
that's just a crime.
Failings of the cast. They are like decisions, and honestly I think for the average person it's going to be a lot easier to remember somebody's name if it doesn't sound like it's difficult to pronounce. Like if you don't make it more difficult to pronounce by sticking to this sort of more prescribed approach to the pronunciation, like it helps make it approachable for people. Earthquake, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Very kind of you, thank you very much. Right, let's grab... I don't even have a fishing rod. I've not made a fishing rod yet in this world, except to go riding striders in the Nether. And we all know how that turned out, so instead, we're just going to make a bog standard fishing rod, and we're going to go down and fish. Probably over underneath the arches of the Great Bridge as well. Have to pronounce Pixlriffs. Yeah, absolutely. And some people can't roll their R's as well, so it's like, why impose that on people, you know? The Dude 1469, thank you for the 13 months. Good morning to you. Hope you're well. I think the Great Bridge might actually be too high to fish from. Like if we were up here, I don't know if the bobber would actually reach the water. But we can hop down here and we can do our fishing here. We'll probably just put a couple of torches down, because this area gets quite dark. Don't want a creeper strolling up to me while I am fishing. But I feel like this seems like a nice view, you know? It's going to be chilling and fishing for a better fishing rod to start with. And if it gets to level 30 and we haven't fished up enough treasure, then we can go and enchant another fishing rod. Only class I failed in school was Spanish because of rolling the R's. Yeah, it's rough. I also think we need, like, direct access to the sky for fishing to actually work with any speed, so this was a bad decision. I should, A, bring a bed with me, and B, go and fish out in open water. Yeah, it needs to be raining, and I need to have direct open sky above me, ideally, right? Those are the things that really affect fishing. As you can tell, I've been farming spruce wood to trade with those villagers. But yeah, once we've done a bit of fishing, once we've got enough pufferfish to brew some potions, because I would go and buy them from Shelby, but Shelby's base is like miles away. Yeah, once I've got a couple of locally brewed water-breathing potions, I will be able to work on those pillars a bit. One firework from the bridge to the base? I know. I'm trying not to use the fireworks too much, though. Although right now there's nobody else online, so I could let it get dark and kill some creepers, and then I wouldn't need to worry about it. Nuccio! Thank you so much for the 3 months. Hope I pronounced that vaguely right. Apologies to any Italians. Speaking of fishing, I'm analysing my data for my master's thesis with you in the background. Thanks for keeping me company. Hey, no worries. I like doing streams like this that are just kind of a little bit more chill. Occasionally we can all feel like we're just hanging out. But I think maybe if we fish from like, maybe like over here, we still get a nice view. That'll do. Can put cinematic camera mode on as well, so I'm not like spinning around wildly. There we go. Now we're actually getting fish. There we go. That's the first time I have fished on Empire's SMP, ladies and gentlemen. We've done it. So advanced. Jimmy's out of double life now, so she had plenty of time to get the creeper farm ready. I think he's already built it. Would I be interested to go to a convention in future? Absolutely. I just don't want to do it while COVID is still a thing, and COVID is still a thing. Unfortunately, COVID's going to be a thing for a while, so really it's just about, like, figuring out what the future of that looks like. The lure man is now the lure man. I wish I was. I wish I had lure on this fishing rod, but sadly I do not. But yeah, we're definitely going to do something about the bases of these pillars later. But yeah, I was invited to go do a thing at TwitchCon. I could have been part of the Minecraft, like, Twitch Rivals broadcast. They were asking me to, like, cast that, potentially. But, yeah, I just didn't want to commit to going because of COVID. And also being, like, a week's worth of travel, because I'd be going to Amsterdam, do a couple of days' worth of rehearsal, have 1 day off, and then do the event. So it was, like, it's a pretty hefty commitment. Instead, I stayed here and I built a bridge, and I'm quite happy about that, to be honest. Toot my Newt 13, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Appreciate that very much. And Pemberley Stalwalk with a 14. Thank you so much for the 14. Happy Sunday to you. YouTube closed captions couldn't differentiate between lawman and lawman. I mean, Jimmy's law is the law, so
Just prime.
yeah, my accent would need to be more heroic for me to say lore. Every time I put the emphasis on the R in lore, I feel like I'm from Cornwall all of a sudden. Yeah, I sound like I'm from the West Country. Shadow Falling with the 16 months. Thank you so much for the 16. Welcome back. A lot of monsters behind me, apparently. Somewhere in there. My kids keep asking me why they're calling you Lawman when that's Jimmy. Yeah, I know. That's the first salmon I have held on this server as well. That's wild. Spawner? No, just a cave. It'll just be a cave. What's the goal? Pufferfish? Pufferfish and a better fishing rod so I can fish for treasure. A couple of extra XP levels so that I can enchant this at level 30 if I need to. We don't really have a proper XP farm aside from Whip's skeleton spawner, which I haven't, like, purchased access to, and he's not around right now for me to do that. But I've been getting XP from smelting stuff, trading with villagers. A lot of my tools have mending now, so I've been trying to gather XP, and it basically just repairs my tools. What else am I planning to farm and sell? Whatever people want, really. Initially, I was going to do Prismarine, but then Joey decided to do the pirate thing and set up a Prismarine farm. So Froglights are the main thing because they're new. I might do moss at some stage because I'll need a lot of moss anyway. Likewise, mud, although I know Shelby is in a mangrove swamp, so it might work better for her. I might also see if Jimmy wants a mud into clay setup at some stage so he can sell terracotta to people. Because I'm not sure if he wants to, like, open up sections of the mesa for mining or if people are just doing that elsewhere, but I expect people are going to want a fair amount of terracotta. That's what Joel sold last season. Do AFK fish farms still work? They work with a lot of concessions to the design. So you can make those little, like, 1x3 farms still, and they still technically work, but in order to get treasure, you have to fish in open water, basically. And there are some ways that you can set up an AFK fish farm that allows you to fish with a large enough area that you can still get treasure, but I like just fishing in open water anyway. I kind of like the meditative process of fishing. It's the same reason I like chopping trees manually instead of setting up an automatic tree farm day one. Like, it's just... It's nice to be able to participate in this mechanic of Minecraft. And it's also fun to do on stream. But yeah, I might do moss, I might do mud. I think Lizzie was talking about maybe setting up a slime farm, but I'm probably going to do that too, because I'll need a lot of slime for like redstone stuff. My character is probably your favorite this season. I like the concept behind it. Thanks. It's not really a character, but I feel like that's it's kind of like the situation where the protagonist of a video game doesn't necessarily have a character. It's more just like they're a cipher for whoever the player is. So people can kind of project their own interests and their own characteristics and stuff onto a character who's more of a blank slate. So, like, guess what? It's a video game. Like a Pokemon protagonist, yeah, exactly. Or like Link from Legend of Zelda, right? He has like a couple of characteristics, but he's hardly the guy with the most personality in that series. Hey, we got a half-broken fishing rod. It's only slightly less broken than the one I'm using. I did bring a bed with me. Okay, good. We got a couple of pufferfish, though. Yeah, or like Skyrim. Basically any role-playing game is kind of like that. Can't wait to see how people build up each tower. Yeah, I pitched that idea to people in the communications Discord we have, and people seemed into it. So I'm hoping it catches on. A few of them are at TwitchCon right now, like Shovel, Scott, and False are all at TwitchCon. I'm not sure if any of the others are. But yeah, a couple of them seem pretty into it. Oh, hey, lily pad. Nice. Am I eventually going to extend the bridge pillars down? Yes, we're going to do that later on this stream if... Oh, it's raining. Perfect. Yeah, later on this stream we'll do that if I can get enough supplies together for water-breathing potions. I know pretty much how we're going to do it as well. When's Survival Guide episode? This week sometime. Probably after the heat has died down a little bit, because I don't want to be in my office with my headphones on when it's, like, 40 degrees, so... It's not going to get that hot in terms of air temperature around here, but the temperature in my office is probably going to go up pretty high, so... For audio quality purposes, I prefer not to have a fan on when I'm recording, but I might just have to suck it up and do that. Europe's having a heat wave, yeah. Yeah, the UK is going to have temperatures of like 41 degrees or something in some parts of London, which I'm further south, so I'm not going to get the worst of it, but yeah, it's the first time there's been like an extreme heat warning like this in the UK for a long time. Around here it's going to reach like 31 degrees maybe at the highest, but the forecast is constantly changing, so we're just keeping an eye on it. Heatwave just in time for you to fly to Europe. Yeah, I mean, just keep drinking water. Find the shade. What are pufferfish for? Potions of water breathing, primarily. If you have a live pufferfish, they can also, you know, poison you and stuff. And pufferfish are also the only fish, or the only food item, the only edible thing in Minecraft that gives you the nausea status effect, which you need for achievements like How Do We Get Here and stuff. Do I like complementary shaders? If so, why don't you use them in general? I've used them for my time-lapses on the entirety of this series in Empires so far. I prefer using shaders for cinematic stuff because I think it differentiates stuff like a time-lapse from ordinary Minecraft footage, which makes it feel a bit more special. And I don't like having shaders on regular footage because sometimes the frame rate dips below 60, which isn't great for video quality. And most of the time I find them too dark. It's already dark enough in caves without adding realistic lighting on top of that and having, you know, having to rely on torches every 3 feet. We're raiding an ocean monument soon, hence the fishing for pufferfish. No, I'm going to be building the bases of each of these pillars, which is going to rely on me being underwater for a long period of time. And honestly, I don't think, even if we had a conduit, I don't think we would be able to... We'd have to move it, like, at least twice. Because, as aforementioned, this bridge is 400 blocks long. And the maximum radius of a conduit is, like, 96 blocks. So maybe we could get away with doing one side and then the other side, but I think we would have to move it. Who's my golden carrot dealer? A farmer in the Plains village, kind of southwest of me. Do I know what shaders Lizzie uses? No idea. They might be linked in her video descriptions, though. And if not, somebody will probably have the answer to that in the comments. I could get 2 conduits, yes, but getting Nautilus shells is a bit of a pain. It's another one of the reasons I'm fishing, but I also don't have Hearts of the Sea, because I haven't really been on the ocean all that much. What I'm planning to build next? I have a couple of things planned which are behind-the-scenes things you're not going to necessarily see in my episodes until other people have discovered them. Hey, Mocha Maid, good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. And yeah, we could make a drowned farm, but I think the best place to make a drowned farm would have been this lake, and I've now built a giant bridge in it, so we'll see how that works out. Gem's going to sell the golden carrots too? Nice. I should add Nautilus shells like fossils that could be mined underwater. That would be kind of cool. I've seen a few people add a Nautilus like creature in like mods and stuff. What are we fishing for? Mostly puffer fish, but also for experience and just to have a chill time. Also because the Great Bridge looks really good in the background. Imagine showcasing one of your builds in the style of English Heritage. Yeah, like, I've got a National Trust Minecraft build for you. Will I show the secret thing I built at the end of the last Empires episode once it's been found? I'm hoping that it will show up in somebody else's video at some point. I did go back and leave a red herring, which I'm quite pleased with. What's my pillar on the bridge going to look like? I haven't really decided yet. I'm waiting to see what the others do, and I'm going to try and do something that fits with the overall approach everybody else takes. But I think there's a few people are planning, like, little, you know, statues and other bits and pieces. I am waiting for somebody to do a Joel and build, like, a statue of themselves straddling 2 towers. Like Joel's massive statue of himself in Jimmy's Empire last season. Do I watch other people's Empires videos? When I have time, yes. I'm always kind of curious to see what everyone else is up to. And it doesn't, like, spoil anything for me to find out, because, again, like, I'm not worried about the conflict side of things. The pillar's still floating for now, yes. We'll finish those a bit later on if we can. And it looks like we've got at least 3 pufferfish now, so we can at least make some potions. I like fishing, though. We'll do this for another half hour, maybe. VR Raven, thank you for the 2 months. Joel's totally going to build a self-statue out of quartz and calcite. I mean, if he does, then that's cool. I'm into it. Do I like to work in silence with musical videos? Bit of both. Bit of both. Sometimes I just need to concentrate on whatever I'm doing, and like background chatter and stuff isn't really for me, but I also like having a stream or a video on in the background because it's also a fun way to spend time in Minecraft, which I have to do to make these videos, while also being able to catch up on like other video games that I don't have time to play. So I watch a lot of people playing other video games than Minecraft. Sam Bear, thank you for the 2 months of Prime. Nick's Craft with the 500 bits. Went and explored an actual cave with friends yesterday. Highly recommend to your fellow crafters. Very nice. If it's not in danger of doxing you, where did you go? IRL caves are always really fun. A lot cooler than it is out in the sun as well, so might be a good day trip. Like, Foyp has his custom pig, you should ride a T-Rex fossil or a dodo or some ancient animal. The dodo has been suggested, and to be honest, I'm thinking about doing a dodo, yeah. I have pitched that to the artist who's doing a lot of our block modeling and stuff. IRL Deep Dark? I wouldn't go that far. How Caverns, upstate New York? Cool. I'll have to look it up. Not a place I'm familiar with, but then there are millions of places I'm not familiar with. Was streaming always my planned career? No, because streaming didn't exist when I started, like, when I entered the world of work. Streaming was not something that people did. Or, like, I watched occasional video games Let's Plays back in 2007, and I think Ustream was just becoming a thing. Ustream was the company that eventually became Twitch. But, like, yeah, that was still... those things were still kind of in their infancy, and I had no designs to be a Twitch streamer or a YouTube creator at that stage. But, yeah, I had to get a job around 2008 when I finished university. I mean, I had a job before that, because I had a part-time job while I was at university, but that was, like, working in a supermarket. But, yeah, I went to work in a bookstore after that, and... streaming really wasn't a thing until much later. Even when I started doing YouTube and streaming was more accessible to people, I didn't really like doing it back in the day, and I've got a lot more comfortable with it since then, as you can tell. Oh, we even got a free bottle of water out of that. Very nice. I was a librarian IRL. No, I worked in bookshops. There's a different thing. Being a bookseller is very different to being a librarian. Librarians are more like curators of museums. Like, they have to kind of, like, handle the collection, make sure everything is, like, filed properly, and, like, deal with all of the admin stuff of loaning books to people, whereas I was just, like, a customer service person in a bookshop. I just sold books to people and put them out on the shelves when we got deliveries. That was, you know... It's very different to being a librarian. And yeah, librarians do a lot of different stuff. So villager librarian IRL. Pretty much, yeah. I spent a lot of my time at a lectern. If by lectern you mean, like, shop till, like the checkout. Let's combine these two to get a bit more durability back. Any ideas for the pillar bases yet? Yeah, we're going to get to that later in the stream. Did I sell any mending books? I did not, sadly. Although, you know, some of them could have been, like, maybe self-help books, could have been, like, personal healing. I don't know. Maybe. I don't think anyone's built any of their stuff on the towers of the bridge yet, but my video only came out yesterday, so they would have had to do that within the last 24 hours. Technically, you need a degree or certification to be a librarian. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, library science is like a very specific field of study. Any advice for someone who wants to try streaming? Just get into it. Like, there's nothing better than just, like, getting into it, making mistakes, learning as you go. OBS is free software. There's a lot of very good tutorials out there for it. And, you know, have a plan, have an identity for your channel kind of figured out, but don't feel like you have to have all of that stuff ready to go unless you've got a really strong kind of brand identity in mind. But honestly, like, when you're starting, you're just going to be streaming to, like, whoever shows up. If you've got friends who want to show up to your streams, even better, but just do it for the fun of it to begin with. Don't expect anything to come of it, and you'll have a good time. Dark Queen, thank you for gifting that sub to Amateur Saboteur. Excellent name. I reckon we'll probably go and start brewing these potions now. When did my channel start to take off? There were a couple of major points throughout the YouTube channel. The first was I had about 100 and something subscribers at the time. I started making little tutorials for detail builds using armor stands and stuff like that. And armor stands were still relatively new. They weren't, like, brand new, but they were still kind of a relative novelty. And I was doing some fun stuff with them and crafting little fun details. And OMG Chad picked up my channel and found it through a post I made on Reddit, I believe. And then, yeah, gave me, like, the first OMG Craft shout-out for another channel, which was an honor. And that got me about 7,000 subscribers overnight, purely because he was an incredibly generous dude who was running a showcase channel and felt like showcasing another YouTuber. Then, after that, because tutorials were doing really well for me, and I started doing, like, one-chunk builds that were, like, very kind of shareable online, the next major increase in subs then was, like, the one-chunk castle build, which was my most popular video for a very, very long time. And I think people still build stuff from that series. Like, I've seen the one-chunk windmill build out there, like, in various people's worlds, and it always makes me really happy when I see stuff like that. Then the next major increase was just Survival Guide taking off, which I think happened around episode 50-something of the first series, because that was the Woodland Mansion raid video, which for some reason just hit recommended and search terms and whatnot, and just, like, shot through 100,000 subscribers, ended up at about 500,000. And since then, it's just been steady growth, but it's dropped off a lot more recently. The Season 2 launcher's survival guide probably brought in a few more people, but most people who I would have expected to find me have found me at this point. And so doing stuff like Empires is where I bring in new audience at this stage. What's my most viewed video now? Probably the Woodland Mansion episode of Survival Guide 1. But there's a few of them. This is the cave from which we are probably hearing most of the zombie noises. And there does not seem to be a spawner here. There is a skeleton, though. And a bit of coal, but that's about it. I do like this as a little fishing cove, though. Can watch the squid frolic in the water around us. Been asking for the one-chunk builds to come back for a while now. Unfortunately, they take about 3 days each to make, and the interest in that series just kind of dropped off after a while. It's the kind of thing that I think now I know Lightmatica better, I could probably do easier. But it still involves, like, designing something that fits in a chunk, and then rebuilding it on camera for the replay mod time-lapse, and then I used to write the script out for, like, the step-by-step process of building stuff, because I think people found that really useful. But it's actually quite difficult to build something with those kind of space constraints and still, like, have it look convincing. There were a couple of ideas that I had to reject pretty much because I couldn't build them in a chunk. Like, or I could have, but it was just beyond my capabilities at the time. El Caneo Cosmico, thank you for the 29 months. Just returned from following Dead and Company for 3 weeks. Very cool. Hope you had a good time. One chunk mega base? Yeah, that kind of defeats the point unless it's like the entire chunk tall or something. But that's a fun concept for future base builds. Anything I regret not finishing in Season 1? I mean, aside from the Anthill, which was very ambitious at the time, and I did wish that I could have spent more time in it, but I just wanted to get Survival Guide 1 off to a good start. Not really, no. My main takeaway from Season 1 was that the audience has a tremendous amount of imagination when it comes to, like, what they think happens in a Minecraft server. Like, regardless of what's actually on the screen in front of them, audiences will extrapolate extra details and build up this sort of meta-fictional layer in which, you know, stuff is way more dramatic than it actually appears on screen, because this is Minecraft, it's a blocky game, you have to use your imagination a whole bunch. Nautilus shell number 1. And so I was really happy with what I'd done on Empires at that point, and aside from, yeah, finishing a couple of the builds, people were still just going to take what I had done and run away with it and come up with their own ideas for, like, how the Copper King's empire ended, or how it endured, how it kind of weathered the storm of everything that happened for everybody else's finales. So I was not too concerned about there being an official ending for it, because, like I said, the entire thing was just like, whatever you think happened. You know, like, you can use your own imagination to come up with a more satisfying ending than whatever I would have given everyone. How do you get Lightmatica? Search for it on CurseForge, and it's there. The official Lightmatica page, I believe, now links to a... oh, there we go. Voidemir has linked it in the chat. There's a community port of it for 1.19, which the mod creator says is fine to use and Master City is probably going to be making an official 1.19 port instead of recoding the entire mod now. Personal ending is that the Copper King found a large copper vein earlier than 1.18 and just never left it. I like that idea. That's fun. Some say that copper is still aging to this day. Fishing is the best, yeah. When did I start Season 2 of Survival Guide? When 1.18 came out. Basically, like, the day after 1.18 came out. So that would be, like, November last year, I guess? It's weird to think that we're almost coming up on a year of Survival Guide Season 2 now. Doing a little fishing? Absolutely we are. And hoping... Oh, there's a saddle. Hoping to get a better fishing rod before I reach 30 levels and have to enchant this one. But, yeah, we're going to be fishing for the first hour or so of the stream. And then, now I've got some water-breathing potions brewed up, we can work on these pillars. Just work on what's going underneath here. Where to send fan art online? Honestly, if you just post it on, you know, Tumblr or put it on Twitter or something. Empire's SMP has a subreddit if you're a Reddit user. Like, if you put that stuff there, we monitor some of that stuff just because it's really cool seeing what people come up with. Have I met Grian before? I have, actually, yeah. I met Grian before he was in Hermitcraft. Back when he used to do more of the kind of building tutorial side of stuff. He and I basically had that in common when I met him in 2017 at the first time they did Minecon as a remote event, when they did like Minecon Earth for the first time and they announced the update Aquatic. I was at an event in London which was basically like a big Skywars tournament that was also a Minecraft live watch party back when it was called Minecon Earth. And yeah, Grian was there. I met him there. He actually knew who I was, which was really cool. How do I feel about players using other people's like Massacre schematics? Honestly, I have no problem with it. It's just not something I want to do myself. Like, the only thing I really feel compelled to comment on is my own approach to stuff like that. And I just missed a fish. My own approach is I want to build all of the stuff myself because that's one of the things I find rewarding about this game. But I have no issue with other people building other people's stuff because build teams have been a thing in Minecraft since Yogscast were doing their thing, you know? Since, like, Shadow of Israfel days. It's like you're doing set design for somebody who is the presenter of whatever show, you know? As long as you're not presenting it as your own work, if you're giving people credit, then that's the important thing to me. BFSB, thank you so much for the Prime sub. The 20 months. Alia Bloom with a brand new tier 1 sub to the channel as well. Thank you so much. And Annie Carroll, thank you so much for gifting that sub. Does Jungle still give you better fishing loot? The only thing Jungle gives you is bamboo. It's like extra bamboo. How many years have I played Minecraft? Since 2014, so like 8 now. Don't remind me that Shadow of Israfel will never get an ending. It's funny, like, it's become the Half-Life 3 of narrative Minecraft, right? Like, it's just never happening because the hype around it would be too big and it would never live up to that, I think is their reason for it, which perfectly makes sense. As a former bookseller, do I have any books I've enjoyed lately? I haven't honestly been reading a whole bunch since starting YouTube as a career because a lot of the stuff I do is Like, it almost feels like this background level of research where I'm trying to stay in touch with the video gaming community. I watch a lot of Twitch streams, I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I don't tend to read all that much for leisure. I have been rereading Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell lately, which is a fantastic book if you like fantasy and more like kind of classical English literature, like Jane Austen kind of classics rather than like classical. Yeah, it's like a period novel about two magicians and England in the Napoleonic Wars, and it's a very, very cool book. It's also massive, like it's Lord of the Rings style thick, so be aware of what you're getting into. But yeah, Susanna Clarke has a couple of other really good books and short story compilations, which are very well written. I was also rereading The Silmarillion earlier. I say rereading. I had read bits of it before and then pieced out because it was a lot. But I've now finished the Silmarillion section of the book that we have, and I'm now reading the Akalabeth, which is the stuff about Numenor, which is going to be fun because obviously the series that's coming out on Amazon is going to focus a lot on Numenor. Any tips for someone who tends to delete and never finish most builds, like for focusing and motivation? Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky to do that stuff. Honestly, I think drafting stuff in creative first, instead of relying wholly on survival Minecraft, is a solid technique for becoming a more confident builder. I think build in the environment that you plan on building something, if possible, because I find that building in a creative flat world always feels a little sterile, and unless you need flat terrain to build on, like I couldn't have designed this in a creative flat world because it relies so much on knowing where the bridge is connecting to the land and how much height above the lake there is, and that's the kind of stuff that I find it difficult to take measurements for. So I had a creative copy of the Empire's World Seed in a single player world, and I designed this basically exactly where it is. Happy Goblin, thank you for gifting that sub. Annika Roll, thank you so much for the 3 months. 3 months already. Indeed, indeed. Is the result of my prank at the end of the last episode published in anyone's video? Nope. Not yet. Can you see the creative world, or are there spoilers? There will be spoilers right now, yes. So I won't be sharing that right now. But honestly, like, I haven't built all that much in that world yet that isn't already now built on Empires. Like, I'm doing it step by step. I'm not taking 6 months to build everything I want to build on Empires right away and then
just prime.
Slowly building it piece by piece. Like, it looks like this world does, except it doesn't have everyone else's bases in it. And obviously I haven't got all of the resources stashed in a hillside because I didn't need them. Rami, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Another brand new sub to the channel. Enjoy your emotes and your sub badge. Welcome to the Pixels. Building a house in a flat world makes it look lonely. The build will be dwarfed by the empty terrain around it. Yeah, it's like the big kind of open sky problem of like there's nothing else to give it context, and I think context is really important. If you do some terraforming around it, then yeah, it makes a lot more sense. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with having a creative copy of even like a single player world, as long as you're happy doing whatever you're doing in that world, you know? Cobalt, right now I'm just fishing for levels at this stage, and potentially a better fishing rod. I could get XP in other ways. I could go and continue trading with villagers, but I haven't done much fishing on this server yet, and I like fishing, so we're just doing that for now, getting a few water-breathing potion supplies, and then we're going to work on these pillars. How are we determining the value of selling things to one another? We're basically just going by whatever feels right. We don't have, like, an economy. You know, it would be far too boring, I think, for those of us who aren't accountants, which I think is most of us, to establish, like, a baseline value of, like, you know, a stock market trading price for each of the different resources. It's more just, like, how much stuff do we want? What feels right in terms of the equivalent amount in that other person's resource? Like, I gave Scott 2 stacks of frog lights, he gave me 4 stacks of dye. That seems about right. Because the dyes can be pretty easily farmed, the frog lights can be pretty easily farmed, but there's a lot of setup that goes into each one. Like, it just, you know... It's more just based on vibe. A lot of stuff we do on this series is not as organized as it might appear on the surface. A lot of it is based on vibe. Have I used Whip Skeleton Farm for XP? I've not. No. Stock market in Minecraft is my version of a nightmare. They did it on, I think, season 5 or 6 of Hermitcrafts. I actually did a voiceover for the video explaining how it works, which was kind of fun. And there was, like, stock in different types of companies and things, but it's like... Again, they ran into that problem on Hermitcraft this season where it's like, you know, it's... Money works differently to how it works in real life, because in Minecraft you can just go and dig it up. and that feels hilarious. And also you're making a lot of your tools out of money. And then people will just give you tools for a much cheaper version of money. So it's kind of tricky to figure out an economy system that works other than just like an honor system, you know what I mean? Right now, since almost everyone is only trading one thing, it's like each one has their own currency. I guess so, yeah. It's like Fallout bottle caps or whatever, right? It's like everyone's got their own version of that. Planning to get 1 million channel points and tell Pixie looks like someone. Good luck with that. Gotta show up to a lot of streams for that to happen. Either that or on the rare occasion that we do predictions on this channel, you've got to really, really nail it. Don't have an XP farm. I have a couple of things that I can use as an XP farm, but I don't have anything really solid like a gold farm or an Enderman farm. That'd be the ideal ones. But, no, neither of those. I get most of my XP either smelting stuff, trading it from villagers. The Skulk farm does not really provide enough XP. Like, it'd have to be a Warden farm to really get the most XP out of Skulk-related blocks. Can you donate your points to that chatter? No, I don't think there's a way of transferring those points aside from through predictions. Have I done a desk setup office tour video ever? Yes, I have. When I redecorated my office and added in the lights and the furniture and stuff behind me, yeah, I did a setup tour video. It's on YouTube. How does a warden mob switch work? I mean, you just spawn enough wardens that the game doesn't want to spawn any other hostile mobs. And wardens can be kept persistent by just giving them a noise to hear over and over again. And if you do that in the spawn chunks of your world, or if you create a system of nether portals that chunk loads the world, or if you use admin commands to force load those chunks, it basically means that no mobs spawn anywhere else, because there's enough wardens in the game that the game thinks, oh, okay, that's more than enough for the player to handle. Can I do predictions to get more points? I mean, there has to be something to predict. And sometimes the mods kind of do it whenever they feel like it, but...
Well, that's just pride.
Right now I'm not just going to have them so people can get more points. That's not the point. Nelange, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Hopefully I pronounced that somewhat right. Predicting fish? Nah. Not much to predict right now. Will we get an enchanted fishing rod before this fishing rod breaks? Like... And then I can sabotage the prediction by leaving before the fishing rod breaks, or we get anything. How do you use Litematica? Install the mods and read the documentation. Like, explaining how you use Litematica is not really something I can do off the top of my head.
Well,
It's something that I've only learned through a bit of trial and error and the documentation, which is available at the Litematica CurseForge page. Saint Omar, thank you so much for the 2 months of Prime. Yeah, Logical Geek Boy has a good video on it. There's a couple of really good tutorials out there. Do I think getting mending from villagers is OP? I mean, I don't know where else we would get it. Other than, like, loot treasure chests, at which point, like, wars would start on servers over, like, 1 or 2 mending books, and I don't think that's a good thing. I think it's good that we can get mending books from villagers. I think the thing that needs balance in villagers is how easy it is to refresh their trades, but then it gets a pain point out of the way if you can trade with villagers to get resources like that. It, like, removes an element of frustration where you're like, this thing could happen faster. But the difference between villagers now and villagers in 1.13 is that you don't have to breed and kill a ton of villagers to get the trades you want. You can just break and replace a block, which is nice, you know? How long do you keep sub emotes you unlock with channel points? I think 24 hours, something like that. Maybe mending only from max level librarians, but then it's not guaranteed, so it's like you end up with the same system. You end up with a system where if a villager doesn't have the trades you want, you just kill them, because otherwise you have a ton of villagers in your world that you don't want. Next, the zombie curing to lower prices. Like, yes, but honestly, I haven't done that, and I've found it perfectly easy to get mending. Like, you have to farm a few more trees to get emeralds from the stick trade, but that's really it. Honestly, I think mending has been a really good thing for the overall health of the game. Are farms exploits or not? No, I don't think so. I mean, they might exploit certain mechanics, but exploit is also... It's a loaded term in video games because often it means something that wasn't intended by the developers and also the developers aren't keen on, like the kind of stuff that would be patched out. Whereas Minecraft's developers are quite keen on there being farming mechanics in this game, in the sense of being able to acquire renewable amounts of resources. Like, they're into that. Like, they will specifically design stuff so that players who are into resource gathering automation can get something out of the newer features. And, like, just making that as efficient as possible, or more efficient than it is to go and mine those resources naturally, it makes sense. One of the splash text is hashtag Minecraft farms, yeah. And ultimately, like, exploitation for what purpose? Like, this is the same thing as the cheating argument. Like, ultimately, you've just got to do what you find enjoyable in the video game. Like, speedrunners use exploits in games all the time. Does that mean those exploits should not exist just because they allow people to complete the game really fast? It's the kind of things that people might want to get patched out. That's an enchanted bow. Punch Unbreaking. I already have Unbreaking 3. It's the kind of things that, yeah, people might want to patch out of a game once a glitch is discovered because it would affect the normal gameplay experience, and people who run into that might see it as a bug, but speedrunners will use that stuff to complete the game faster. That's their preferred way of playing. Like how some people think playing on peaceful is cheating. I mean, what? Alright, there goes the rod. Let's go grab another one, maybe? Personally, if I have to complete a challenge of some sort in order to cheat in Minecraft, what do you mean? Oh, you try and set yourself a challenge so that you can justify, like, using Minecraft's built-in commands? Is that what you mean? Right, before we do our next little stint of fishing, I'm actually going to run to the bathroom because I've been chugging water to cope with the heat, and I need to run to the bathroom. So bear with me, we'll be back in a few minutes' time.
Well, that's just prime.
Can you see the, you can just about see the fan. Normally it's directly behind me, but, like, you can just about see the oscillating fan I have on the floor. Prototype, thank you so much for the 2 months of Prime. Welcome back. Alright. I have some refrigerated water with a massive ice cube in it. And that'll be good. Oh, Gem's online. Give her a wave. Kira Plays FF, just watched both seasons of the Survival Guide, just started watching Empires, love it, you're so creative, watching the old Empires episodes now to catch up. No worries, you don't need to watch all of them if you don't want to, but if you're enjoying them, then great, fantastic, have a lovely time. Where should I put the fish? Sort of running out of space for these miscellaneous bits and pieces, but... Fish tropical. We do have a few lily pads. I might actually take those out to my fishing spot and use them. Tripwire can go in utilities, as can the saddles. And I don't know what to do with this bow, to be honest. See if the Sun Queen decides to keep it nighttime. Probably not. Yeah, I didn't think so. Thanks for introducing you to Bliss. Oh, hey, no worries. I rarely mention it, but I do think it's a really cool idea for a mod pack, so... Should go and visit Gem. Honestly, it's a bit more of a pain visiting people on streams because I don't stream with headphones on, and so it's going to be very echoey in voice chat for people, which is probably one of the main reasons I don't do it. Wait, does this still have stone bricks in it? Like, I left this here when I needed more stone bricks for these pillars. It's got one stone brick block. Let's just bundle those two. Alright, a little bit more fishing. Let's get to level 30. Let's see if we can enchant a fishing rod. And then we'll see how we do from there. Oh. Hello, hello. Hey, we got a fish before the trident caught up with us. Alright, that time I'm pretty sure I had my shield up, so I don't know what was going on there. But still, no trident for us. Can I play with shaders just for this stream? No. Do I have my shaders and settings posted anywhere? In the video description for the Great Bridge episode, I posted it, but it's complementary shaders. The settings are all pretty much default. I don't change much about them, even though you can pretty heavily configure them. Any recommendations for non-copyrighted music? It's usually a good idea if you're playing Minecraft, use the Minecraft soundtrack. I mean, all of that is available for download from Bandcamp. It's on Spotify, but you can also pull it directly out of the files from the game if you want to. Outside of that, Pretzel has a bunch of copyright-free music. A lot of it is provided by... like, a lot of copyright-free music is provided by services like Epidemic Sound, so you can pay for a subscription and then just use a bunch of their music library for free. freemusicarchive.org is another place that has a lot of like Creative Commons licensed music. Incompetech.com is Kevin MacLeod's music, which is all copyright free with attribution and shows up basically everywhere. Anybody doesn't have a budget for music. I found some success with the Arcadium, which is the Fat Rats record label, although there's been some changes to that recently, and I think they're featuring different types of artists whenever, so... Minecraft Dungeons OST is also really good, yeah. Yeah, agreed. Oh yeah, and of course Malcolm, Music Man 1017 has a bunch of copyright-free music for streamers. I'm not sure what his policy is on people using it in YouTube videos, but yeah, Malcolm's music is great, so... I use Sodium and Iris on this server. I don't have Optifine installed anywhere, because Optifine takes longer to update, usually. But I don't really use Sodium and Iris outside of Empires. It's just part of the server, so... And yeah, like there's some mods which have like compatibility conflicts with Optifine, like Matka being one of them. Will I try and get a horse soon? Yes, I think so. The main thing with a horse is I don't want to get attached to it being a horse, because then we're going to have some kind of way of it transforming into some other creature, because that's what we're doing on this server, is having some stuff like equipment, weapons, armor, and mounts being retextured, remodeled kind of stuff. Do I use any other master mods than Lightmatica? No, honestly, I haven't used Lightmatica before a couple of episodes ago in this series. And, yeah, the other ones like Mini HUD and whatnot are all ones that I have not really dabbled in. We have a couple of mods which have similar features to stuff like Mini HUD and Tweakaroo. Like, we have a free cam mod that we can use, but I don't use it very much. It's just good for screenshots when you don't have like a spectator mode account, or you have one but it's a pain logging it into the server just to take one screenshot, you know? Yes, like Whip's pig. The law boar. Almost there, almost at 30 levels. At 30 levels and then almost instantly to 27 levels again. Does FreeCam spectate underground? Yes, I think so. Nice. All right. What camera am I using for the stream? All my stream specs and stuff are in the About section on Twitch. If you're watching on browser, you can just scroll down, click on the About tab, and you'll find all of the info about stuff I use. Might actually cook some of this fish, just for the sake of it being more edible than it currently is and not having anything else to do with it. Tris King, thank you for the 5 months. Why does the survival guide not get as much attention from the audience as Empires? Because Empires is a collaborative series, and people who watch other Minecraft YouTubers can see us all collaborate and stuff like that, and I feel like the survival guide has its audience, Empires has a different audience. The audience for Empires is just larger. Acorn Fletcher, thank you for the 100 bits. It's also early in the series for Empires, so, like, you know, people like to tune in the early episodes of something and then it naturally tails off, right? If you look at the first few episodes of Survival Guide, they've got more views than the first few episodes of Empires have so far, because they're the first few episodes, right? Like, everybody loves an episode 1. Only lure 2? There might be something else? Just lure 2. Okay. Real beekeeper hours. How long did it take to build the bridge? About a week. But it was a week of nearly 8-hour days. So I'd say probably close to 24 hours, something like that, maybe. Maybe 20. Obviously, designing it in creative took a bit of time too, so. And yes, Snake, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Acorn Fletcher with 100 bits. Thank you very much for the 100. But yeah, the thing about Survival Guide for me is that it's evergreen content, right? Like, that's the philosophy behind it, is like, even if it doesn't gather a massive amount of views to begin with, it's the kind of content that people will be searching for on YouTube whenever, you know? Because they're looking for, you know, how do I use a conduit, for example. Like, they're looking for stuff like that. They're going to find that episode of Survival Guide, even though it's not, like, super current. Whereas I feel like people are going to flock to the current episodes of Empires because they want to keep up with, like, the story and how things are going on the server. Smite 4. First enchanted book from fishing. Not that useful, but not the worst, I guess. And so, yeah, people are going to be watching Empires Season 2, like, as it releases. And then it's going to be less popular in the future because there's going to be something new. Do I use World Edit for my creative worlds? I don't, no. I've very rarely done that. I've only ever used World Edit a couple of times. I'm not super familiar with how it works. But mods like that and plugins and whatnot do a great job of making themselves usable. Because that's the whole point. So, on the rare occasions I have used it, it was fine.
Well, that's just prime.
One's got a bow with mending and unbreaking 2 from fishing. Yeah, you can get some really good ones. It basically gives you a level 30 enchant on something, but with the possibility of having mending, which isn't normally the case on an enchanting table. Tinkerbell Sarah, thank you for the 7 months. Did the bridge without World Edit? Yes. I mean, I used Lightmatica to copy-paste some parts of it, but I didn't, like, shape all of this stuff using World Edit. The main reason being, like, there's some cool stuff you can do with World Edit when it comes to extruding shapes, right? And, like, you can start this cylinder and then just pull it upwards. But I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do with that stuff, and I don't like to use, like, the kind of painting brushes for texturing stuff. I kind of like doing that stuff by hand because it emulates how it's going to be to do it in survival. And so I wanted to give myself a vague idea of, like, this is the building process. Being able to pick block in Lightmatica is the best thing. Yeah, it was very useful. Obviously, I do that all the time when I'm building freestyle stuff in survival, but... Well, this is definitely faster than the unenchanted fishing rod, but it's not getting us any more treasure, sadly. Free bowl. Does everyone know about the bridge? I've mentioned it in the Discord, so yes. A few people say they've flown past it. And Fwip came by on stream while I was building it. I don't know if he's been back since it's been built, but people know it's there. A used bowl full of lake water. Mmm. Suspicious stew. Lizzie commented saying she couldn't wait to walk over it. Yes. I do think we need to have a race of everyone's custom animals. Like custom mounts. Fwip's boar versus whatever anyone else has. I don't know if anyone else has a custom horse yet. Which is why I don't want to have a skeleton horse, even though skeleton horse works really well for me in terms of, like, the Empire of the past and whatnot, is because skeleton horses are, by default, very slow, and you can't breed them to be faster. Besides which, I think having a mule or a donkey is usually the best idea, because then you can add a chest to it. After the season ends, does Empires offer a world download? Yes, we did one for Season 1. There is no reason to assume we won't do it for Season 2.
Well, that's just prime.
Kilo Chan, thanks so much for the Prime sub. Brand new sub to the channel. Enjoy your emotes and your sub badge. Welcome to the Pixels. Do you have a world tour of this world? No, because it's been out for like a month and there isn't really a world to tour yet. We don't have like a look at the blank seed either because we're not sharing the seed yet. Cade Silverstar, thank you for the tier 1 sub. A brand new sub to the channel. can I give Empire Season 1 IP? There isn't a server anymore. It was shut down because we wanted to reuse the same server host for Season 2. But no, the server doesn't stay online after we're done using it. As a D&D enthusiast, do I follow Critical Role? I've seen a bit of their stuff, but I don't watch, like, week to week. I haven't really followed a full campaign of theirs. I've got a couple of friends who are into it, but, yeah, it's just one of those things that it's a lot of catching up, and they've got a great dynamic, but I've tried getting into it a couple of times, and it never really stuck with me. Like, I watched probably the first little kind of, like, mystery thing they did at the start of Campaign 2. And yeah, I don't know. There's something about it, because they had such a clearly established dynamic. I wanted to go back to the very beginning and watch from Season 1. But then Season 1 starts basically halfway through their campaign, because that's when they decided to broadcast it, so yeah, it's a lot. They never really felt like there was a good in point for me, you know? Playing D&D is a lot more fun than watching it, and I like watching it. Yeah, true. I listened to basically all of the Adventure Zone's first campaign. And bits and pieces of the other stuff they did. Why are we not going to share the seed for the world yet? Because people just go into comment sections and spoil where everything is. Like, whether it's stuff that we're building, so, like, if I show something that I'm like, oh, I've left a trap for somebody here, people can look at the biome that it's in and, like, the coordinates and stuff, and then say in somebody else's comment section, oh, so-and-so's left a trap at this point in the savannah, like, if you go through this cave, then there's a trap or something. Or people will just tell us, like, the locations of strongholds, ancient cities. You know, the thing on Java is that with the world seed determining the loot for all of the chests, you can go into a single-player world and find, like, a notch apple or whatever, and the enchanted golden apple is going to be in the same chest for every person who loads up the same world, even though it rolls the loot for the first time when you open the chest, so you can't see what's in a loot chest in spectator mode, but it still has the same loot when you open it in survival or creative, so it's one of those things. I don't have the seed for Season 1 memorized, Terrap. You'd have to look that up somewhere. I'm pretty sure Fwip has a video with the world download, but you can download the world there and then just do /seed and it will tell you. But one of the Adventure Zone graphic novels. Yeah, I think I have the first 3. And, yeah, I like them. What does the bridge lead to? There's a village on the other side. But right now it doesn't lead to anything as such. It's meant to just be more like a big road crossing this area, and we can link other roads to it. Yeah, we're not going to get another enchanted fishing rod out of this. At least not right now. Let's do some building.
Well, that's just prime.
Cosmonaut MCU, thank you for the Prime sub. Brand new sub to the channel. Enjoy your emotes and your sub badge. Welcome to the Pixels. Any vacation plans this summer? Not really. Might go and see my parents. And we have some folks from the US potentially coming to stay with us, because my partner's family is American. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But not planning on going anywhere for, like, a holiday, because COVID is still the thing. And like I was saying earlier, it's going to be a while before it is not a thing, if that ever becomes the case, but we'd still like to take it easy with COVID kind of spiking in the UK right now. Have I played Destiny 2? I have not, except for a brief stint of the beta, but I don't really have time, unfortunately. It's the kind of game that I would get really stuck into and probably play more than I should when I was supposed to be making Minecraft videos, so I try not to play too many other games on the side, and I don't always have time. Right, let's grab, we need, let's bring 2 of these. So here is my plan for this. We're going to go with basalt. probably a fair amount of polished basalt, which is why we need so much of the stuff. We're gonna go with tough. We're gonna have some mossy cobblestone. This can probably all go in one box for now. We'll need some irregular stone still. Stone classic. And then moss. Do I still have a box for this? I guess not. I guess we'll leave this empty one in here for now. That can go in there. We'll leave the bowl in there as well. Waste not, want not. What's the worst block to collect? I mean, it's always been obsidian, right? But it's not that difficult to collect that. Just takes a long time to mine. I mean, that and, like, I guess deep slate, really? Not beacons? Nah, beacons are easy.
Well, that's just...
I mean, beacons are 3 parts obsidian. Anyway, so... Crystal Even Star, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Man, so many Lord of the Rings folks around. Love it. Alright, let's grab the Silk Touch pick. Obsidian can be got from piglin bartering. Yeah, but even that is like, it's 1 block at a time compared to... You know, I can mine it so much faster, but you also have to have a gold farm. There's so many extra, like, steps in getting obsidian from piglin bartering. Like, I get that it's convenient, but it's not that much more convenient, all told. Is deep slate blast resistant enough to make tunnel balls a no-go? I mean, it's not really. You just have to have the tunnel ball work harder, I guess, but... It's then, like, gathering anything with a tunnel bore is sort of difficult. The majority of the time you're using tunnel balls to make a tunnel, you're not necessarily using them to gather resources. Unless the resources are either blast resistant or... Oh, there's 1 piece of scaffolding down here. Yeah, unless the resources are either blast resistant themselves or you stop the tunnel bore every so often to gather stuff, because otherwise the TNT is just going to destroy all of the blocks that you go past. Would I take inspiration from the Silmarillion imagination-wise for my builds? The thing is, I'm trying to think of actual descriptions of places in the Silmarillion which are more than just like, and there was this city on a hill that it was called Tyrion, and that's where the elves dwelt. Like, he doesn't get into especially significant descriptions of architecture. Now here's a question for you, chat. Which direction do you think the water flows into and out of this lake? Because obviously it's, like, largely speaking, standing water, but there has to be a current because it's fed by a river and there are other rivers leading out. So I think this is the inlet. It comes down from the mountains, and then I think that way is the way the water flows. So, like, that's going to affect how we build some of this stuff, because if we want to have, like, dirt and mud and sediment piled up on the pillars, it's probably going to be, like, on this side, since the water is going to be flowing in that direction. Current might depend on the wind direction. Yeah, I mean, this is sort of east and south that way. but I don't know. But, like, the nearest mountain is over there. I don't know if this actually leads to an ocean, to be honest, but yeah, the higher terrain is up there. Like, we can take a quick look from the sky, because this is where all the mountains are. This way, that's where, like, Fwip's base is, north of Spawn. And then this is all, like, the high terrain, and then as we go this way, it continues in sort of valleys, but this feels like lower-lying terrain. There's obviously hills everywhere because it's Minecraft, and again, I don't think this river necessarily, like, leads out to the sea, but it leads out towards, like, the jungle biomes and stuff, right? So I think a lot of the current is going this way. It doesn't matter especially, but I just think that's an interesting detail to note when trying to figure out how we're going to set some of this stuff up. But I think what we're going to do is dive down here with a bit more stone, some tuff, some mossy cobble, and some polished basalt. And the polished basalt is going to feel like a darker, eroded... Okay, that confused the heck out of me because I thought Gem was putting the time in that message. I was like, wait a minute. It's just a confusing thing because the message started with time. Yeah, it tells you the time. That's also the time UTC as well, because we're UTC +1 in the UK right now, so it's actually 4:40, not 3:40. But that's really weird. That's just baffling. Okay, let's go with some tuff around here. And, oh yeah, I can drink my water breathing potion. That was the whole point of doing that. So we can put some tuff around. Obviously, like, there'll be some blocks which are still stone, so we can mix that in here and there. We'll put one there and we'll take this out. But yes, no, it is absolutely time to dig a river all the way to the coast by Gem, which is, oh gosh, so far away. Whenever Gem has to collab with anybody on the server, she takes about, like, 30 minutes to walk to them because Dawn is so far away from everywhere else. Usually smaller rivers come together to make a big one. Yes, unfortunately, Minecraft doesn't always allow for that. Yeah. No, when I was on the server a couple of nights ago, and Gem and Jimmy were filming something together, and it was like, "Are you there yet, Gem? Are you there yet?" It's like, "No, I live very far away." Put a bit more tuff in here. Probably going to be more tuff on this side. But then again, like, if the water is moving faster, or is moving past that side more often, I feel like the plant life is probably going to be on this side of the pillar a bit more. So maybe there'll be a little more of this. And then we'll have some moss on this side. We need to make sure we pick up the shulker box. It's kind of important. Bring in a couple more blocks of mossy. Let's also up the gamma so you folks can see a bit better. Someone give Gem an elytra? Yeah. Joel's got all of them. Around this side, actually, yeah. Love the fact that we're going all out and no one will even see this. You can see bits and pieces of it from the surface. I think it's more about just having something down here. Anything, really. And who knows, we might end up building some stuff on the lake bed at some stage. It's all about immersion, quite literally, in this case. Because we're underwater. Haha. And then on this side, where it's a little bit more... hello. On this side, where it's a little bit more exposed like this, I think we'll have some tuff around the basalt. But I think there's going to be a bit more like it's been kind of worn down. Take a quick swim away and look at that. Yeah, I think we need to blend it up into the tower a little bit more. It looks like a bit more of a hard line here. Even having a bit of the mossy stuff around here is not going to be a bad thing. Because the stuff would kind of hang around the base of this, but there could also be like... I might use a different type of leaf for it, but there could be some flotsam and algae and stuff kind of gathered around here. Shout out to flotsam, what a good word. Go away. Still waiting for a guy to actually give me a trident. And then at the base of each of these, we're gonna build up some kind of lake bed sediment and stuff around here. That's gonna make it feel like it's actually anchored into the ground and that it goes down even further. Could use mangrove leaves? Yeah, we could do that, actually. It's not a bad idea. Yeah, alright, alright. Always sounds like a car going past. These weird underwater noises. Okay. So that's that. And if anything, it also sort of looks like a reflection, which is even cooler. Because it kind of goes back into the tough and cobblestone kind of vibe, so we've got that going for us too. I thought the car did go past. Now that's one of the sound effects Minecraft makes when you're underwater. We got that one. There's the stack I was looking for. I got a minute of water breathing left. Honestly, I don't know if I need the water breathing. I could just come up every minute or two. So let's grab some dirt. Which I have a few stacks of in here. Probably not enough, but a few. Put this one scaffolding away in here. Is there a way to place campfires underwater to create a steam effect? Yeah, I think campfires can be waterlogged. Weirdly. Although maybe they don't light if you're waterlogged. Did Empires claim any of the towers yet? I think they've got plans to do something with them, like I was suggesting, but I don't think anyone's like actually put down a sign saying this is the Sanctuary Tower, this tower is property of Joel Smallish Beans, 11-foot god, or anything. Oh, actually, I'll keep the water bottle. What am I doing? Because I need to turn this into mud. I mean, I will just drink another bottle of water breathing, but still. Julska, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. Don't they extinguish underwater? Do they? Do they not? I'm not sure. Yeah, we got like soul soil and stuff that we could use as well. There's a bit of mud here already. And then packed mud could be an option, but again, we're overthinking it. And then let's bundle that, so we'll get that back in a minute. Miss Kitty with a brand new nerd resub. Everyone spam the word nerd in the chat, please. Thank you so much for the 12 months. Enjoy your brand new nerd sub badge. Welcome to the nerd herd. What else? What else? What else? I guess just dirt and stuff, right? Doesn't need to be that much more complicated. We'll try the mangrove leaves out, because I've got a fair few of those. And this is my last firework, so let's make it count. Let's take a look at this from over here while we're still in the air. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, no, that's much better. Much better than having them on flat platforms like this. See, another thing we could do is have some extra supports for them. Like, a lot of people said that this reminded them of the Bridge of Hylia from Breath of the Wild. And so I looked up a couple of images of it, and it's got some supports towards the bottom which basically come out like from the faces of the pillars, which I think looks really cool, but I don't plan on building that into this as a feature. I like them just being straight pillars all the way down, more or less. And so this side is going to have all of the mud and stuff built up around it. Would dead coral blocks work well for texture? They would, but I don't have any right now, and it's kind of a pain to go and get them. There's a warm ocean south of Jimmy's Mesa, but I don't have the fireworks to really travel right now. There's a lot of material I'm probably wasting here, but hey, it's just dirt. Doesn't matter all that much. And we'll try and leave... Oh, that's a water-breathing potion. What was I doing? Try and leave kind of patches of this hanging out a little bit. And that sort of blends with the basalt at the base of the tower. So it could almost be more stone there, you know? Sort of like that. That's what I think we'll do. Yeah, the amount of splashy sounds is excessive. Still insisting on using a bow underwater. I think for these, we'll have them coming down a little further. What are we building? These are just the final touches to a build that I did for my most recent YouTube video. This is the Great Bridge. This spans from my savannah over here to the savannah on the other side of this massive, like 400 block wide lake. But yeah, I wanted to have a big bridge. That's basically it. Do I have any sponges? No, I'm not clearing the water out at all. Like, there's no need. Like, underneath here, it's just, like, it's just going to be empty. If it spawns drowned, who cares? There's enough of them in the lake anyway. And having mud around this like that is going to draw less attention to it over here as well, so that's also not too bad. But on this side, we can mix in a bit more of the moss with it. You're wondering if there'll be a battle on the big bridge? Maybe. Depends if we can find anybody with 8 swords. Oh my goodness. I heard the noise and then I looked around and suddenly there were 1,000 more people here. What's up, Azuma? Hello, chat. Welcome in. Hope you all had a good one. What are you up to today? I saw you had a chess stream going the other day. Hope that went well. So, friends, welcome in. Welcome to the Empire's SMP. If you've not seen this server before, we are another group of content creators, kind of similar to the Hermitcraft lot. In fact, there is a little bit of crossover with some of the Hermitcraft lot. Gemini Tay and False Symmetry are on this server as well. Empires is a YouTube server in which each of us has our own empire. We each have our own biome to build in. We each have our own exports in terms of what we want to theme our empire around and what we want to sell to the other players. We don't have a diamond-based economy like Hermitcraft does. Our economy is based more on trade and being able to steal from each other and whatnot. I am currently putting the finishing touches to a build that I was working on all this week and has a video out on my YouTube channel. This is the Great Bridge. This is a 400 block long bridge that spans the lake adjacent to my base. I currently don't have any fireworks, so I can't fly up into the air and show you, but I should be able to give you a better look from up here on top of yonder hill. So yeah, this is what I built this week. It took me all week to build, and a lot of that was gathering resources, but I left the pillars floating on the surface of the water because I hadn't designed what they would look like below the water. And what I've decided upon is that we're going to build up the lake bed around here to have like a little bit of mud and dirt and stuff showing. And there's a bit of basalt down there as well, some polished basalt, kind of giving it a bit more texture. We might mix in some regular basalt as well now, looking at that. But I like the idea of it having this sort of like worn pillar look to it around the base. But that blends it down into the lake and even makes it look like it's got a bit of a reflection thing going on, which I really like. So yeah, very, very happy with the way that looks. We'll do that to the other 11 pillars. Probably not all on this stream because it's going to take a while. But yeah, we're having some fun. Having some fun here in Minecraft. Hope you all had a great stream. Thank you so much to Azuma for the raid. If you have to raid and dip, I completely understand. Everyone got to take care of themselves, get some water, stay hydrated, all of that jazz. And then I've just got to ban some people for spamming. That's all good though. No mods today? Liara's around, but is probably off to caption the Hermitcraft recap at this time of day, so. What does the bridge lead to? There's a village on the other side, and basically everybody's empires are to the east of me. Is that east? Yeah, that's east, towards the rising sun. So, yeah, everybody's empires ended up kind of concentrated in the east side of the map from spawn, except for me and Jimmy, Solidarity. He's kind of south of where I am. Lizzie is to the north, and Fwip is a bit north, but basically everybody who left spawn went that way. And so the idea is that eventually the whole server will be connected up with a network of roads, so it feels a bit more like there are trade routes between the empires, even if we mostly end up flying around with Elytra for the sake of saving time. We don't really use the Nether all that much, except for gathering Nether-specific resources in this series, because the Nether Hub doesn't feel quite like it fits with the immersion of the world. But yeah, we're basically just starting a road network by having a big landmark bridge near spawn that feels like it's been here for hundreds of years. Take any inspiration from Zelda. Now, the main inspiration for this bridge was really from Elden Ring, which I was playing sort of in anticipation of Empire Season 2 starting, because I figured I wanted to do some of this stuff where my empire is basically not an empire. It's more to do with, like, building up the history of the world. I am, yeah, more or less providing a backstory for this part of the world. And the idea is that I'm building historical landmarks that are no longer part of anybody's empire. This is supposed to be a bridge that went to, like, this ancient capital city that is now a ruin, and that's going to be my base. But I'm also building dungeons and stuff around the server for people to find, kind of like how BOO is doing in this season of Hermitcraft. And Mythical Sausage has joined. Is there a Tiger Empire? I don't believe so. I think a few people have spruce trees around, but I don't think anybody's, like, basing in a tiger. Joey and Sausage are both in jungle biomes, but Joey's stuff is more, like, pirate-themed, so he's kind of, like, on the ocean as well. I think False is on, like, a kind of mountain hillside somewhere. Scott's in a meadow because he's got the whole flower dyes thing going on. Catherine is kind of near a plains biome. Lizzie's in a birch forest. Whip is underground. Jimmy's in a mesa. I'm in a savanna. I don't think anybody has the tiger. Obi-Wan Drop enjoyed the latest Spawn Chunks episode. Glad to hear it. Hey, Satsuma, thank you so much for the 24 months. The double nerd. Your 1-year nerdiversary. And for 12 months in a row as well. So kind of doubling down on those nerd creds. Always appreciated. Thank you very much, my friend. We've got some tuff that I need to grab out of here. And yeah, we'll try the mangrove leaves around some of this. We're doing nerd now? Yeah. How does it feel to be the oldest person on the server? It's fine. I'm cool playing Minecraft with the cool kids. Let's have some of this around the base of the tower here. Love the fact that we can waterlog leaves now. But then if we remove a couple of these, so they're kind of like floating out here on their own, like they've separated out and they're following the current. Yeah. Yeah, just a few leaves just below the surface on this side, but then on this side it's kind of gathering with all of the stuff that's been a bit more static. The pillar blocking the current. For anybody who's wondering, we have a resource pack on this server that was put together by Thwip that kind of adds a little bit more life to all of the foliage. I don't think it's publicly available except through his Patreon. But look at that, like, we've got a bit of savanna biome color creeping in there, so this all looks really neat. Again, I wish I had fireworks so I could look at this from above. Favorite type of leaves? Honestly, I really like the azalea leaves. I think they're great. Oh, yes, 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 yes. Very much a fan of this. Vanilla Tweaks has fluffy leaves. Yeah, there's a few packs that do it, but just to let you know, because there's a few other bits and pieces around here, like the flowers will sometimes look a bit different, and people always ask what the deal is. Let's do one of these. And then have some more built-in tough texture. Now that I've thought about it some more with the mirror effect, the kind of faux mirror effect on the water, I am actually going to try and copy a little bit of the patterns that I've done here. But I don't want to create too much work for myself, so I'm not going to do that the whole way round. I just like the idea of it feeling a little bit like reflective, you know? Give the impression of it without having to go too detailed. Get out of here, you. We'll get a bit more of the moss going again around this side. And yeah, we can start to pepper in a bit more of it. Built up on this side of the pillar. How am I toggling from different blocks? Middle click, like middle mouse click. If you click in the scroll wheel, it picks a block that you're looking at out of your inventory if you have it on you, which is super useful when you're building with lots of different blocks in a same palette like this. Is it modded or vanilla? There's a couple of data packs and stuff, and we use performance mods like Sodium, replay mod like Matica, but it's vanilla gameplay primarily. The gameplay is the important bit, and we don't have like any significant mods that change that. How's my day? My day's going well. The weather is very warm in the UK, so we're trying to stay cool. Doing our best to stay in the shade, keep the desk fans on, that kind of thing. That's all the mud I brought with me. We can craft a little bit more, or make a little bit more. Little bit of basalt peeking out of here, but you're not going to see much of it in this case, so it's not going to matter really. Oh, You missed. Try harder. That looks like a little too divided, those two. Still no tridents. Try again later. Yeah, if we do something like this. And then maybe throw another piece of dirt on there, so that's... Have it overlap a bit more in this direction, like back that way. Yeah, that works. Oh, there's a gap there. Can fill that in with some more polished basalt. There we go. So these are obviously the two most shallow pillars in terms of where they sit in the water, except for the ones on the opposite bank over there. The rest of these we're going to need a lot more material for, so we won't get to all of them today. You've got a Nautilus shell. Hello. One more step towards not needing to brew water-breathing potions. Tempest Dragon with the 8 months. Thank you for the 8 months. We also had Miss a Kitty with the 12-month resub earlier. Did I say that one? Did I miss that one? If not, big nerd. Thank you so much. The other thing we need to do is throw a little bit more bone meal on some of this, so it can feel like the seagrass and stuff has had time to grow down there. Waterborne plants and stuff finding their homes in amongst all of this. Oh, whoa. Just popped up next to me. I have some water-breathing potions, normal guy. I've been brewing them myself because I don't have a great way of getting over to Shelby's right now. And Shelby is also on... not on holiday, she's at TwitchCon. So, yeah, kind of difficult to get in touch and be like, where are the potions? What do they do? Where are they? How am I so good at building? I've been building for basically my entire Minecraft life. And had a fair bit of practice now, but also I have a lot of time to play Minecraft because I'm able to do this professionally, so yeah, it's also having the luxury of being able to play Minecraft for as long as I want every day. So I think this is now... yeah, it's kind of giving the impression that there is a flow to the water, right? Like, the water is kind of flowing in this direction. I consider these bits over here to be, like, the outlets for this lake. I do love the gradient. I love it when leaves can do that. And most of the time in leaves that are on the borders of two biomes, it looks kind of awkward, but here... it kind of makes sense with it being gathered up around here, not getting as much sunlight, kind of changes the color of the leaves a bit. Yeah. Yeah, I'm into it. Let's get rid of this rotten flesh. We could probably put some leaves under the water as well if we wanted to. There was one other thing that I wanted to do down here, and I can't remember what now. Oh yeah, the seagrass, that was it. Let's go and get some bone meal. And again, I would have loved to include some of this stuff in the time-lapse of the bridge itself, but man, did I not have the time. I think Joel is the better builder. Oh yeah, Joel's a fantastic builder. Like, his Empire last season was probably, like, the most awestruck that I have been. Like, being able to pull an architectural style like that off throughout the entire season. All of those different colors, all of the terracotta and stuff, like, it's pretty awesome. What's Joel's YouTube? Smallish Beans. Where's my bone meal at? There we go. There we are. Okay. Yeah, half a stack should be enough. Landing was smooth. I've had a lot of practice. Would get more practice if we actually had gunpowder. I think Jimmy is setting up like a shop for it, basically, so we can all get it when he's not online, but I would like to at least swing by with something to trade, you know? Ow. Less smooth landing that time, but that's fine. Definitely more on this side, I think. Yeah, there we go. Big fan. If we wanted to make this a bit more visible, we could put some light sources down here as well. Hide a frog light in there or get a sea pickle or something. Get a bit more greenery over here, but it doesn't have to be too much. Just the stuff that's been able to cling on, you know? Just the Klingons. Sweet. I like that. I think that's good. Yeah, we'll have some glow lichen in there as well. I think I have some of that. But again, getting back and forth to this stuff is difficult when we don't have too many fireworks on us. I don't want to sound like a broken record here. Muddy roots, we could use those too, yeah. I think really, like, you're not really going to tell the difference between mud and muddy roots most of the time you look at this. So it's the kind of thing that it would be a detail just for us. All right, cool. We'll log out. All right, friends. We're just going to chat for a bit while Whip updates the server. Survival guide? Nah, I mean, it's... I'd have to load up my other instance of Minecraft, and I want to finish out on Empires today. I wouldn't really be able to do anything in half an hour on survival guide anyway. Nice. Build a tree at the base of one of the pillars? I mean, I don't know. I'm not certain if a tree would really kind of, like, fit in there. I mean, some other kind of water-borne plant life would be kind of fun, and you could imagine, like, massive lily pads or something down there even, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what fits the vibe, you know? Mangrove roots look like dead leaves. Yeah, we could do some stuff like that. Again, there's lots of options. We could put tons and tons of detail in here. Build You Didn't Empires was amazing. Thank you. Yeah, we've just been adding some more detail to that today. After Empires SMP ends, Survival Guide Season 2 will be back. Survival Guide Season 2 is going to be happening anyway. I just didn't have a video last week because I spent all week building the bridge. But I'm not just switching to one series or the other. I'm going to try and do both. There will be less of each as a result because I'm not able to do like 5 videos a week if I'm putting a lot of effort into what I'm building on Empires. Building is one of the things that takes the most time in this game. How are the frogs doing? They still have a lot of cubes to eat. I have not been back over to that farm except to go through to the biomes that are linked via that nether portal, but I have so many frog lights at this point that I don't really need to worry about the farm, but the frogs are still there as far as I know. Are there any rules against going on the nether roof? No, I think most of us are not going to just because why would we? Like, aside from building farms up there and having like a really straightforward nether portal network, I don't think anyone really wants to bother too much with that. I don't think anybody except for me went on the nether roof last season. What are frog lights? A new light source for 119. You have a frog, eat a magma cube, it drops a frog light. Oh, okay, cool. Right, we're back. Let's throw that in there, and we could do one more of these. I think let's do one more. I think that might be all that we have time for, considering that these are significantly deeper than the other ones over there. Is there lore next episode? Well, I mean, I don't know what the next episode is right now, so... But considering that this series is really all about telling fun stories, then there's going to be a story element to most of the episodes. Ever seen that Sculk Catalyst has a different Sculk texture than Sculk? Yes, and they emit light, so they're actually quite easy to pick out of like a floor of Sculk if they're in the floor. Lots of content creators are expressing a desire for better inventory management. Do you think that's a push to get bundles in production, or do you think it goes further? I think people are asking for more inventory space, and I think those people are wrong. I mean, they're not necessarily wrong in the sense of, like, yes, more inventory space would be helpful, but I don't think it solves all the problems with inventory, which some people seem to think it does. I think those people are suffering from the same problem I suffered from when doing this project, in that if you have Lightmatica and you have a full list of all the materials you're going to need, or at least, you know, you're bringing a lot of different building blocks into a project like this, you end up with full stacks of a ton of different blocks, and you still don't have enough to complete a build without heavy use of shulker boxes and inventory management. And some people don't really like that side of the game, but I think that side of the game is pretty good as it is. I think bundles are one of the better attempts at resolving issues by allowing you to use your inventory more efficiently, to make more efficient use of the space that you have. But personally, I completely disagree with anybody who thinks that more inventory space is a solution, because you have more inventory space. It is in shulker boxes and, you know, the inventory of the nearest donkey, you know, that kind of thing. More updates will just keep adding more types of items to clutter your inventory. It'll just be kicking the can down the road. Yeah, exactly. Like, I've played Terraria before. Terraria is a game where they basically add anything that sounded like a cool idea. It's kind of like a kitchen sink approach to developing that game. And they had, like, I'm trying to even think, like, what it was. It was like 12, or was it 1 through 10? Maybe it was 1 through 10. In terms of, like, what your hotbar was. And then below that, you had 5 rows of inventory. So that was maybe, like, 50 different inventory slots. And then you had slots for all of your armor and accessories. And then you had vanity slots for all of your armor and accessories. And there still isn't enough inventory space in that game. You're still organizing inventory constantly. And they have some really good quality of life features for how you organize that inventory, because you have, like, a bunch of auto sort buttons and the ability to stack items into chests of nearby items without you ever having to open your inventory to begin with. And there's stuff like that that makes a whole lot of sense in Terraria. And as Minecraft approaches having a really substantial amount of blocks and items and stuff like that, I think quality of life features can go a long way. I think expanding inventory space is just going to result in people wanting more inventory space again later. And constantly expanding that is just going to make the UI pretty much unusable. Alright, we need more tough. There's a lot of copper floating in the water around me for some reason. Will there be Season 1 lore like it was forgotten in the past and someone discovers it? I've decided that I'm not going to be rebuilding anything from Season 1 unless somebody else on the server explicitly asks me to, because personally I find that kind of stuff a little bit boring in a way. Like, not that the Season 1 was boring, but that just reproducing the same builds we did last season I find kind of boring. I would honestly prefer to tell a brand new original story every time we do a fresh season of Empires, but obviously people are very attached to the stuff that we did in Season 1, so maybe something like that will happen in the future, but I'm not going to be the catalyst for that. I really want to start pushing things in a new direction. And it makes very little sense for the kingdoms from Empires Season 1 to be here, considering that this is a completely different map with a different arrangement of biomes. So even given the rate of potential, like, continental drift or whatever that might have happened, the biomes are in a completely different place. It's only supposed to be 1,000 or so years after the end of Season 1, so while some things that happened in Season 1 can affect the world, like I was very pointedly saying at the end of the Great Bridge build time-lapse, like, if these are water lines from different eras of this lake's history, then yes, some kind of event has caused the water to drain about 50 meters from this lake. I mean, probably not that much, actually. Looking at this, it's more like 25, but that's still a lot of water having been lost. And yeah, there were sections at the end of Empire Season 1 where, like, the ocean disappeared for Lizzie, and Fwip caused, like, a giant explosion to happen at his base, and there's, like, a ton of stuff that could have led to environmental disaster, which could affect the waterline of a massive lake like this. Or it could just be, yeah, climate catastrophe, global warming, whatever you want to call it. Like, there's a ton of explanations for it, but I think the world can have been affected without it being, like, really close by to where Season 1 took place, you know? Yeah, and then there was a salmon in the water, and I was like, there's a salmon there, look. Cool. Alright. Let's put a time limit on our stream then, chat. Not that I didn't anyway. So this way, it's probably going to be, like, around here. Thought the prank where we built the salmon statue for the Godfather was really funny. I like that. That was fun. Have I considered any names for my empire yet? No. Not really. Nautilus shelled round are my favourite mob to find. They're good. They're good lads. They bring you the useful thing. Let's continue with a bit more mossy, and then let's throw the basalt in from around here, I guess.
Well, that's just prime.
Finn Tim, thanks so much for the Prime sub. And Mooster with the 14 months. Thank you so much for the 14. There it is. Do I have Respiration, Aqua Affinity, and Depth Strider yet? All three, yes. Just how come it's at all bearable to do anything underwater? Probably wouldn't be doing this if I didn't have Depth Strider. But the others are, yeah, very much a thing. I'll probably need to go and mine some more tuff at some stage. It's nice and easy to find tuff, though. Like, even outside of the iron veins, I ended up just going into a deep slate layer underneath my branch mine and I found tuff very, very quickly. Oh. It's Trident Guy time. Ow. There were multiple pops there. It got me excited for a second, but I think it might have just been another copper ingot. Boo. Sleep on the seabed. That was the lake bed, not the seabed. Man, there's so much more to go. There's so much more terrain under there. Find tuff around geodes. Just probe down in 10 clusters in my old spawn chunks. I mean, there's smooth basalt around geodes mostly, but I guess if you've been digging out that area, there's probably some tuff around too. At this point, from the surface, people aren't really going to see what the material is down here as long as it's the same type of stuff. I might go and get some regular basalt instead of the polished, though. That could be a good option. The only thing that's really going to affect the visibility is if there's any light down there. Didn't know sleeping underwater replaces your oxygen? Yeah, the player's hitbox is basically inside the block of air created by the bed. Moss is one of the best things ever added to Minecraft. It really is. It's one of the neatest sets of mechanics we've had added for a while. Yeah? Okay, cool. Nice, thank you. Having salmon for dinner, chat. Right, where are we at with that in there for now. We'll bring some glow lichen over. We suggested glow lichen earlier. I only have a bit of that here. So I started stashing it somewhere else and then forgot, but I think I used it all on the bridge. The actual like walkway of the bridge. The bridge part has a lot of glow lichen. And I've been farming it too, so it's a fair bit of that. Like up here. And then what? Is the door strat no longer possible? Oh, it is. Yeah, it just didn't have a door with me because there's no need for one. Yeah, regular basalt. Or basalt, if you're one of those people who speaks English. Yeah, we'll use some of this. How do you make your salmon? I'm trying to like it. I get a jar of teriyaki sauce from the supermarket, and I put some foil in a pan. I put the salmon fillets on the foil. I wrap the foil kind of around them, and then I pour the teriyaki sauce in over the top. Then I wrap that up and I bake it in the oven for about 30 minutes. I serve that with rice and vegetables, and it's very nice. The other way I tend to do it is, like, if you get smoked salmon in a package from the shop, I make a really nice, like, pasta sauce with salmon, some soy cream, because my partner's lactose intolerant, so it's easier than using regular single cream. But, like, single cream, a little bit of cream cheese, mushrooms, just making, like, a creamy sauce with bits of, like, chopped, diced smoked salmon. It's really good. Stir that into pasta like it's an Alfredo sauce. And then add, you know, broccoli or something on the side. Nebraska, thank you for the 16 months. Just thank you for the months of great content and videos. Hey, no worries. Bake your salmon with pesto and feta cheese. That sounds really good too. Salmon's quite diverse because it doesn't have a especially strong taste. I think people who dislike salmon mostly dislike it because it's like an oily kind of fish. People aren't into that, which is fine, you know, have your preferences. But, yeah, I really like salmon. I was not a big fan of the fishier types of fish, especially growing up, but salmon was always one of the milder ones. And a lot of the time that fishy taste comes from, like, fish just being old, so if you can get a fresh cut of whatever fish you have, like if you're buying it fresh, it hasn't had time to, like, decay at all, then it's going to be much better. Just not a fan of fish in general. Their existence or eating them. The salmon around here can just cover their ears. Fish have internal ears, so that's quite difficult for them. No conduit yet? No, I've not really been near the ocean, to be quite honest. Which, you know, you might find funny considering that this lake is really large, but it is literally a river biome. It's not an ocean biome in the slightest. There's no kelp here. That's how you can tell it's not an ocean. Imagine if this drowned had a better fishing rod than I do. That'd be embarrassing after all the fishing we did earlier. Salmon's your favorite fish? Yeah, I like salmon. It's quite versatile. Salmon's a good practice dish for beginners because it's really forgiving. Yeah, yeah. And you're not going to get salmonella from it if you undercook it. That wasn't even meant to be a joke, by the way, so I'm sorry if that just... The dad jokes just roll out naturally, I guess. I think all of the bottom of this needs to be mud. That's what I think. Mud or moss or both. The problem is I need a lot more dirt for that. I don't have a great deal of mud. I could do a little bit of glow lichen creeping up like this. The problem is we need so much of that to really make a dent in how much material we have here on the towers. So. Have it creeping up the side like that. That'll do. Should be killing all of these squid whenever I see them because we don't have much black dye. Time-lapse was really fun to watch. Thank you. It was very fun to make. And I'll be doing a lot more building with Lightmatica just so that I can make time-lapses of stuff like this more easily. Because I found the whole process very smooth once we got going. Yeah, you can waterlog glow lichen. Yeah, it's very useful. You actually find it in a lot of waterlogged caves, in like aquifers. So looking at that from up here now, and trying not to fall into this, which I've actually used to convert dirt into mud every so often. Yeah, see that? I mean, for a start, that almost looks like it's touching the lake bed because you can't really see anything down there, but it also gives this impression of the light fading off. If that was grey all the way down to the bottom, you'd sort of see it like the gravel here, it would all be kind of one homogeneous color, whereas having it fade into the basalt textures there is actually really good. So I think that worked out very well. We'll come back and finish that, of course. I just don't have the materials for it right now. And I think we need a bit more of the mangrove leaves around here, as though some of these leaves have kind of fallen in the water. Because it seems strange that this stuff is over here, but it's not on this side. I think that works out, though. That's pretty good. Let's see if we can kill some creepers on the way back before somebody sleeps. Well, that might have been enough time for creepers to spawn. We'll see. There's a zombie. That doesn't count. It'd be a lot easier to find the creepers if I could fly up into the air and see them. I saw a couple of mobs over here. I think a lot of them will have been underground, though. Not going to turn my nose up at the bone meal at this point. No, looks like no creepers, unfortunately. No worries. We'll have to go see Jimmy. Mangrove wood's amazing. Cutting down the trees is tedious. It's alright. I don't have a huge problem with it. It's easier with the lays, clearing up the leaves for you. Or if you're happy just destroying the leaves. Do I have any plans for my pillar, or will I leave it as is? I haven't decided yet. I'm basically going to go on whatever everyone else does with theirs. I'm going to try and sort of match their tone. Like, I don't want to do something super serious and then have it be, like, next to a giant, colourful statue of somebody that's clearly a little bit more kind of cartoonish, you know what I mean? But we'll see what happens. Anyway, folks, I think I'm going to leave it there. We're wrapping up a little bit early, but Yeah, it's either that or run to the bathroom right away. So I'm probably going to just log out now. Thank you so much for joining me for this stream. I had a great time. Lovely to just chill out and relax. Do some fishing, do some building, and we'll probably get a few more of those pillars done on either the next stream or between clips here and there. I'm going to send you folks over to Boz, who is streaming on the 8-Bit Community server, doing his Badlands build, although it looks like he might be looking for somebody to raid. I'm not sure. He's got a hype train going right now. I'm not sure how long he streams for on the Sunday streams. What are you doing, Boz? There's a bunch of other folks playing Minecraft, of course. But, I need to go say hi to this lad. Oh, thank goodness he's playing Minecraft. Alright. We're going to go raid Boz. He's another family-friendly streamer. Lovely dude. Very laid back. Good music. Enjoy the stream. Go say hi from me. Use your Pixel Hype emotes and the hashtag PixelRaid if you want to show some love in the chat. Don't get too spammy in case the mods time you out, but overall it should be a good time. And I'm going to resub while I'm there. Folks, enjoy yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll be back with you folks on Tuesday. And stay tuned for Survival Guide episodes. They will be happening later on in the week. Monday and Tuesday are going to be really hot in the UK, so I may not be able to do as much recording, but look for episodes later in the week, and hopefully everything should be all good. In the meantime, go watch the Great Bridge episode again, because I'm really proud of that build. All right, folks, have a good one. I'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye for now.